Before activating hardware RTU licenses, you need to check the types of these licenses and their resource quantity. Keep a record if there are many license types. Start by running the display license command. If two dashes are displayed in item type, the item is a sales item and does not need to be activated. If function is displayed, the item is a function control service license and does not require separate activation because it is already activated along with the license file. If resource is displayed, the item is a resource control license and needs to be activated. In description of a resource control license, if port enable RTU is displayed, the item is a hardware RTU license. Here we describe how to allocate hardware RTU licenses to physical ports. Check Resource License command line in the lower part of the Display License command output. Locate the activation command corresponding to each hardware RTU license, named in the format of LCR XXXX. In most cases, the activation command format is the same, but for some product models, the command is Active Port Basic Slot ID Port List without the card ID parameter. Remember that you need to activate each hardware RTU license using the corresponding command displayed here. Enter the system view and then the license view. Run the Active Port Basic command to activate the corresponding hardware RTU license for the ports as planned. You can run the Active Port Basic Slot command followed by a question mark to find out the slots of the boards containing the ports for which the hardware RTU license can be activated. To activate hardware RTU licenses, you need to specify the ports for which the hardware RTU licenses are to be activated. The device automatically determines the allocation result based on port rates, as well as RTU types and count. After the activation is complete, you can run the Display License Resource Usage Port Basic All command to view the activation result. If the command output contains too much information, causing query inconvenience, you can open the log file stored locally for command output query. Offline indicates the number of resources used by offline ports. For example, the boards where the ports reside are powered off or removed. Allocated indicates the number of resources needed by ports that fail to have a hardware RTU license activated because available resources are insufficient, even though the Active Port Basic command has been run. In this case, the device reports an alarm. You will need to either replan the range of ports for which the hardware RTU license is to be activated based on the number of available hardware RTU resources or apply to expand the license capacity. Activated indicates the number of resources used by the ports for which a hardware RTU license is successfully activated. Available indicates the number of remaining resources. Check whether hardware RTU licenses are activated for ports as planned. If any port in the planned port range fails to have a hardware RTU license activated, return to the previous step for adjustment. If the resources of a hardware RTU license available to the device are insufficient, check the total number of resources contained in the hardware RTU license purchased for the project. If the resources of the same hardware RTU license on other devices in the same project are sufficient, contact Huawei engineers to split license resources by device. If the overall resources of the hardware RTU licenses are insufficient, contact the project sales personnel to purchase more resources.